Live from the WCTV studios, this is Eyewitness News at noon. Coverage you can count on.
We'll begin the noon show with breaking news today concerning the search for that missing child in Live Oak. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Meyer. Shonda is on leave today. The Suwannee County Sheriff's Office said this morning that a boy that matches 9-year-old Leo Walker's description has been found. They say he was found near a body of water in the search area, but they have not yet positively identified him. We cannot tell at this point. It has not been said at this point whether he is alive or dead has been found. Let's go right to this press conference live in Live Oak.
Just wanted to update everyone that during the course of the investigation, law enforcement officials have discovered a body of a deceased young man. We're not certain that this is the body of Leo Walker. What I can update you and tell you is that we are continuing on with our investigation. All search efforts are still going on, and this is what we know right now. There's no positive identification. We're not stopping what we're doing, and I'll be glad to come back and give an update around 3 p.m. today. Thank you.
All right, that is the Suwannee County Sheriff. Again, a very quick statement there about their search for Leo Walker. They said they have found a boy's body there that seems to match the description. They do not have a positive identification at this point, so they can't say either way. They said their search efforts are going to continue at this point, so they are just not sure of the situation right there. And of course, we have a reporter on the scene right now, and we will have more information to you later on today on Eyewitness News. Well, officials have released the name of the Ferguson, Missouri police officer who gunned down an unarmed black teenager. The shooting led to nights of unrest in the St. Louis suburb. Brian Webb is there with the latest.
The Ferguson Police Department says Darren Wilson is the officer who fired multiple shots at 18-year-old Michael Brown.
He's been a police officer for 6 years, has had no disciplinary action taken against him.
Chief Thomas Jackson says Officer Wilson was on duty hearing calls about a robbery when he confronted Brown. Residents in the St. Louis suburb have more questions for police.
The cover-up and everything else doesn't justify why a man can lay on the ground and get shot down like an animal.
Police say they waited to release Officer Wilson's name because they feared for his life. The shooting sparked 4 days of unrest, but last night demonstrations were calm. The atmosphere at times more like a street party than a protest. Highway Patrol Captain Ron Johnson is getting the credit.
People have a chance to say what they want to say, and it's peaceful, so I think it's been going good.
The Ferguson native was put in charge of the situation Thursday, and instead of facing off against the angry protesters, his officers reached out to them. Brian Webb for CBS News, New York.
Well, it's unclear if formal charges have been filed against Officer Darren Wilson. He's been on paid administrative leave. Attorney General Eric Holder says the Justice Department will conduct a full, independent civil rights investigation into Michael Brown's death. Well, events taking place in Ferguson, Missouri, causing people all over the country to react. In Tallahassee, a group of FAMU students say they've been watching the coverage and felt it was necessary to speak out against what police are calling police brutality, what they're calling police brutality. So through Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, they got the word out to meet at the state capitol to show their support yesterday for Michael Brown and his family.
Please go onto petitions.whitehouse.gov and sign the Mike Brown Law petition. That's something that's actually moving us toward a solution.
The petition, by the way, would require all police officers to wear cameras on their uniforms. A Georgia mother is coming to the defense of her 19-year-old son who is accused of lying to police in connection with the case of a student found dead in a high school gym. Dalton Ray Chauncey was arrested on a felony charge of providing false statements last week. According to incident reports, investigators say he told them he overheard 2 students talking about their involvement in the death of Kendrick Johnson, but later said he made up the story. Chauncey's mother says her son has mental health issues, and he only told investigators he made up the story about the alleged confession, hoping they would end their questioning. Well, Johnson's body was found in a rolled-up mat at Lowndes High School gym last year. Investigators ruled his death was accidental, saying he climbed into the mat and got stuck. After 8 years in power, Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki caved into U.S. and international pressure and stepped down. Maliki's Shiite-dominated government was blamed by many for deepening the rift that allowed Islamic State militants to advance. The power shift comes as the U.S. called off plans to rescue religious minorities trapped on a mountaintop in Iraq. That operation could have put hundreds of American troops on the ground. Instead, U.S. airstrikes and airdrops of supplies were found to be effective. The aid has helped many of the more than 1.5 million people displaced by Islamic State militants.
Because of these efforts, we do not expect there to be an additional operation to evacuate people off the mountain, and it's unlikely that we're going to need to continue humanitarian airdrops on the mountain.
The new Iraqi Prime Minister is Haider al-Abadi. He will have 30 days to establish a new government. Also, the UN Security Council will vote today on a resolution that would punish the recruitment and financing of foreign fighters in Iraq and Syria. It also demands all al-Qaeda-linked groups disarm and disband immediately. New in our news today, the Obama administration is granting Florida a one-year extension of its No Child Left Behind waiver. The waiver will give Florida flexibility from certain parts of the federal act in exchange for a state-specific accountability plan. No Child Left Behind has been due for reauthorization since 2007. The Congress has not been able to agree on what changes should be made. The U.S. Department of Education began granting states relief from the act that required all students to test proficient in math and reading by 2014. NASCAR's Tony Stewart will sit out a second weekend of racing as investigators probe a deadly on-track crash. Last week, Stewart hit and killed a fellow driver during a dirt track race in New York. No criminal charges have been filed, but this weekend will be the second race that Stewart is sitting out. The team announced that Jeff Burton will drive the number 14 car this Sunday at Michigan in his place. Well, coming up, an amazing story of a car thief with a conscience and how the victim's text messages finally got through to him. But first, let's get a sneak preview of our forecast for today and the weekend with Brittany. Brittany?
Well, it's going to be hot this afternoon. I think we all know that, in the low to mid 90s. But as we started off this morning, temperatures were once again in the upper 60s in parts of South Georgia. Albany and Blakely came in at 68 degrees. And then the farther south you go, temperatures warmed up into the mid to upper 70s, 78 in Apalachicola was your low. Right now, we've definitely warmed up, upper 80s, lower 90s across North Florida and South Georgia. But in our planner for today, temperatures will be near 95 degrees by the 5 o'clock hour. Will we see more of this hot weather as we go into your weekend? All the details coming up.
All right, well, the sheriff of Suwannee County, just a few minutes ago, we took a live report from him. He made a very quick announcement about developments in the search for 9-year-old Leo Walker. Let's go live now back to Live Oak for a report from Charlene Cristobal, who's on the scene right now. Charlene?
Art, just minutes ago, you heard the announcement that Chief Williams of Live Oak Police Department announced that they have found a body of a deceased child. Now, we are not confirming that that is in fact Leo Walker, who went missing Wednesday morning from his home off of Duval Street at 4 a.m. They have told us that the body was found in a body of water near the family home, but they won't tell us the exact location. We are not sure what time they found him or any timeline of that matter. They did call off search groups about 45 minutes before the press conference was announced, and after that statement was, they started draining a lake near the Walker home yesterday. They made that announcement around 6 p.m. that they were going to drain a lake near the Walker home, but they did not say that the child or the body was found in that body of water that they were draining. Those are all the details I have right now. I'll update you with more as it becomes available. In Live Oak, Charlene Cristobal, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Thank you so much, Charlene, reporting live from Live Oak, Florida on the search for that missing 9-year-old boy there.